This is a teardown of a Dell KVM 2162DS, and this is going to be more of a partial teardown because this presumably is a working unit, assuming it hasn't suffered failure due to bad caps, which I've seen a lot with these Dell KVMs. And in theory, I'm going to do a video on this because I couldn't really find anything on it, and then I'm probably going to sell it. It'd be kind of nice to have a really cool KVM for my rack setup, but in all honesty, I don't need physical access to my servers now that they're set up, so it seems kind of silly holding on to something that I can just sell. I might read the documentation and just make sure that this doesn't like do something really cool that I can't do with the way I have things set up right now. Because it does have some RJ45 ports on the back that are labeled PDU1 and 2. And I'm kind of curious why. I'm also kind of curious if there's like some sort of weird remote management access capabilities that this provides that would be better than remote desktop or Parsec. But yeah, I don't know. Hoping I don't have to remove the mounting screws on the sides. Let's see here. Nope, I'm gonna have to take those out too. There's a set of screws on both sides of this unit for mounting this in static rails. And I actually do have the static rails for this, so that's kind of a nice little bonus. At least I think it is. I don't know. I like having stuff mounted in rails. I'm kind of annoyed because I have one server that's not rail mounted, and I had to mount it on they're kind of rails, but I used the little metal brackets that APCs come with for mounting battery backups. So that server is taking up, I think that's a 4U chassis. It's a custom build for my storage. And that server is taking up a few more U than I would like. I get an extra half a U. Alright, well, let's figure out how this cover comes off. Bend it too far. Oh, there's these metal tabs. I think this is something I'm going to take off away from the camera. Alright, there we go. So, I won't be able to show that on camera. The camera's too low right now. You have to hinge the top pretty far forward, and then you pull it towards the bottom and lift it off. There's these tabs that kind of lock in. Kind of a weird design. I don't know why they did it like that. But this is the inside of the KVM. It's running dual power supplies, which is kind of nice. A lot of their older models were running single power supply, which what I would find happen is the caps on the power supplies would go bad. And you'd hear the KVM either like squealing or the power would pulse on and off and just have all sorts of issues. But being that this one has dual power supplies, as long as they don't both fail at the same time, should be fine. Some tiny little 40mm fans, which I'm sure are just fantastic sounding. And you'll notice that there's some open spots for some chips on the board. This one is the 16 port module, or KVM. So I'm guessing there must have been a 32 port version, being that there's all the connections and then the extra chips that could be populated. This is a lot more complex than some of the other Dell KVMs I've tore apart to recycle. Looks like it's a PowerPC based processor, some memory over there. These chips over here are probably controlling network connectivity. I believe a lot of this is going to be your VGA video and then your USB controllers and stuff. I don't think, yeah, this doesn't have PS2. Serial also. And then you got just your power regulation along here. And without looking, I'm not sure what these chips over here are doing. I'm guessing some of this circuitry on this edge has to do with how it switches between the various ports. But I will zoom in, give nice close-ups for people who want to look. Oops, got screws in the way. Definitely really nicely built. It's a step above in build quality from some of the older ones I've taken apart. And like I said, usually the caps will go bad and that'll be what causes them to fail. Hopefully the fans aren't going to be too noisy. Let's see if I can get a good angle on that. It's your standard Sun-On brand fan. OEMs seem to like Sun-On and Delta, and I forget what other brands I see most commonly, but Foxconn. You see a lot of Foxconn fans as well. But just a standard 3-pin fan with a header, so you could potentially replace those with a different brand of fan that's quieter. Also, I just noticed, look where my finger's pointing. Probably can zoom in on that a little better. Looks like this was definitely contracted out. Wow, this is old. Copyright 2009, Avocent Corporation. PCB 610-467-505. So I'm guessing that means that there's probably an Avocent branded KVM that looks pretty much the same as this with the same features. Really, I'm guessing all they changed was this oversized bezel that sticks out, and then the support for Dell's rail system. These little screw-on pins that hook into the rails. So yeah, hopefully that's interesting. It's always fun seeing what's inside this stuff. It's a lot more complicated than I was expecting. I'm gonna have to read the documentation and see what setup's like, but I don't think this is something I'm gonna keep because I genuinely don't use my KVM much as it is that I have in there. I think it's just an IO Gear branded 4-port. But thanks for watching.